right? I mean, look at this. Okay, full throttle. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're reviewing a 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross XLE. First and foremost though, I do want to mention, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into the review. So under the hood we have a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a CVT automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 29 around town and then 32 on the highway, with power outputs being 169 horsepower and then 151 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Corolla Cross, which I actually really like the styling on this. So first off, this color just looks so cool. You can see you've got these prominent body lines on either side of the hood. And then coming down below, you guys can see here with the shape of the daytime running light and then the headlights, which the headlights are very bright at night, I can tell you that right now. Parking sensors here on the front end, and then notice the fog lights here at the very bottom. And then you guys can see here with the grille how it's darker in coloration. You got the Toyota logo there in the center. So they've pretty much kept the front end styling pretty simplistic, and so I think that it definitely works. Like it's a really good looking car. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then notice here with the finish on the front of the wheels, so you've got the silver there on the top and there's like a dark metallic gray below that. It's like super common now in the car industry. And then also I like the little squiggles there in the wheels. It's pretty interesting. And then notice here with the molding there for the fender flare, and then that continues all along the side of the Corolla Cross. We've got these body painted mirrors, and then notice here with the rails there at the top. And here is your full side view. So here is the key fob for the Corolla Cross. You guys can see you've got the lock function, the unlock, and then the opening here for the hatch, the Toyota logo there at the bottom. And well, let's pop inside to see. So we've got our Corolla Cross floor mat right here. And notice if I pick this up, then we can see the spare tire underneath. But notice how it's kind of like just chilling right there. And you guys can see here for the sound system. Other than that though, you know, pretty decent sized storage space, and it's also cool that this is actually power. A lot of vehicles in this segment won't have power for the rear hatch, so it's definitely a nice little luxury touch to this one. Boom. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, you can see the taillights here with the Corolla Cross. We got our Corolla Cross badge and then our XLE all-wheel drive badge. We've got a bunch of parking sensors here along the back, and then you can see the exhaust tip just poking out there. Pretty funny. But yeah, overall, again, like I said, you know, it's not crazy dramatic with the styling, but I think that it's just good looking. Now here's the door panel on the rear. I love how they have this right here, so it looks like there's stitching there, but it's pretty hard touch. Anyways, notice we got padding down below, and then here are these seats, again nicely padded, and then you can see here on the side with the stitching, and then popping in, it's okay with the room. Again, it's not a massive car, but notice here at the vents down below, got a little storage pocket right here. And do we have a cup holder armrest? Yes, we do, folks. Anyways, outside of the front. Now here's the front door panel. Again, they do that same thing that makes it look like they're stitching across. Blind spot mounting for the mirrors, and then again with the padding down below. All of our window controls here with the door lock and unlock, your mirror adjustments in the normal place. And then here are the front seats again with all of the nice padding, and you can see the stitching there on the sides. Power adjustments with the lumbar support. And then notice here with the pedal layout down below. And we have our hatch release right there. And then notice here, again, it's pretty hard to the touch, but they make it look like they're stitching through it. Steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. Now here is the steering wheel. You guys can see with the padding all around, and then notice there with the stitching on the center. We do have adaptive cruise control, and then you've got your lane departure. We've got our volume, voice command controls for the center stack in normal Toyota fashion. And then we have our turn signal light stock, and then our windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. You guys can see here with the RPMs on the one side, and then you've got the fuel and the temperature on the other side. And then notice here with the center stack, we can scroll through a bunch of different menus, see different bits of info on like the car, for example, or fuel economy, all that. And this is what I've been averaging so far, if you guys are wondering, from a fuel economy standpoint. And That's all she wrote. Here's the infotainment system. First off, if I pop it in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn the steering wheel, and notice I can change the viewpoint there of the camera. Now I've got a bunch of shortcut buttons here on either side of the infotainment system, which makes it so it's a little bit more user friendly. Response time on the screen is actually really solid as well, and so even though it doesn't look like the most modern unit, it functions like other modern units. Now this one doesn't have navigation. I was just double checking for you guys. I never use it, but it's nice for you guys to be able to see if it has it or not. And also I love how it displays range and fuel economy there as well, but there you go. We've got our climate controls down below. This does have a dual zone climate system, and just like other Toyota models, it has their Eco Heat Cool mode if you want to be a little bit more economical. Heated seats for the front, USB, wireless phone charging pad in a very nice place. Stability control, and that's for your auto stop start if you want to turn that off. And then here is the shifter for the CVT with the manual mode. By the way, the auto stop start will actually pop in the dash, and it'll show you how much time the car's been shut off, which is pretty cool. Auto hold, parking, brake, and then notice a couple cup holders here with all the darker trim. Then here's the center console, 12 volt. You guys can see here with the padding on the top, and then notice here across the dash as well. This is actually kind of got a little bit of give to it. And then you guys can see there with the glove box as well. And then finishing things here at the top, we do have the sunroof, and you can see the crossbar. And then controls for the sunroof are just right over here. Mirror actually looks really nice. It does have a dimmer in it, and there you go. Now here's the window sticker for the Corolla Cross. So first off, you guys can see the standard equipment, and just like most Toyota models, a lot of stuff happens to be standard with it. But anyways, you guys can see here with some of the options that are added to this particular one, including like this upgraded audio / infotainment system package. But anyways, after everything, $33,550 is the total MSRP. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before you set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. Both mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring. And throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So setting off here in the Corolla Cross. This is such a unique SUV, and the reason why it's unique is because there's just so many SUVs within Toyota's lineup that it's like, okay, what exactly is happening here? And also I think it confuses people because it has Corolla in the name, but it's not the, you know, little sedan or hatchback, right? So it's kind of confusing with the naming and everything. But I mean, it also kind of makes sense because crossover, right? But anyways, how does this drive? First off, it's actually really smooth. So I have two testers this week, and so one of them I drove one day for a lot, and then this one I just drove today for a lot. And it's a really comfortable daily driver. Seat comfort's great. The seats are pretty nice and supportive. And yeah, I don't really have any complaints about it from a comfort perspective. I think it does a really solid job at just being a commuter type crossover, whatever you want to call it. And then aside from that, you guys saw the fuel economy numbers, really solid. And you know, gas prices are pretty high in today's world, and so you know, having something that gets good fuel economy like this is definitely a big plus. Now, aside from that, there is an elephant in the room that I want to talk about, and that is the CVT and the acceleration. So the CVT sometimes just it does CVT stuff. It's not exactly the most refined CVT out there from, you know, its transition points, but it does an okay job. But the bigger thing is, I live at 4,500 feet elevation. This is naturally aspirated with a CVT, and it just doesn't feel quick at all. And so I found myself in several situations where like I wait a little bit longer to get like a much bigger gap in traffic before I like enter onto a road, because like I know that it's going to take me quite some time to get up to speed, right? I mean, look at this. Okay, full throttle. So like, yeah, it's definitely not quick. I don't know what the 0 to 60 is, but it's got to be like 10 seconds or something like that. Yeah, it's kind of just in it. When you have a CVT and a naturally aspirated engine and you're at high elevation, it just doesn't perform all that well from acceleration perspective. But you know, just going around town and all that stuff, it doesn't bother me. It's just like when I get on the high-speed road, sometimes I'm like, a little bit frustrated. But then once I'm up and moving like this, then again, it's like whatever, cool, it's fine. So it's like 99% of the time I'm fine. 1% of the time I'm like, oh, I wish it had a little bit more power or something. Aside from that, infotainment system super easy to use, like I said before. Sound system's great with the carts. I mean, it's not like a crazy, you know, advanced sound system, but I mean, it gets the job done, right? It gets the job done. Now, I guess let's kind of sum things up here. The Corolla Cross is weird. Toyota has so many SUVs now, right? You have the CHR, well, I should say crossovers rather. CHR, they have the Corolla Cross, and they have the RAV4, and then you have the Highlander, then you have the 4Runner, then you have the Sequoia. They got rid of the Land Cruiser, but like, they just have so many SUVs. Now, on like the top end side of things, right, the 4Runner is like a truck-based SUV that is somewhat similar in size to like the Highlander, right? But it's a truck-based SUV. And then the Sequoia truck-based SUV, but it's like the biggest one in the lineup. And now they don't have the Land Cruiser, which the Land Cruiser was like smaller than the Sequoia, and so that's all over the place. But like in the smaller SUVs, now Toyota has so many of them because we've got the CHR, which is, you know, supposed to be like your economical, good fuel economy crossover. And now we have this, which is an economical, good fuel economy crossover. And then the RAV4, which is an economical, good fuel economy crossover. And they're all like slightly priced differently compared to each other. So again, I understand why they're doing it, so they can like touch base with every single market from a size perspective and a price point perspective. It's smart. Toyota's a smart automaker, but yeah, it's almost like we have too many options now. But yeah, I like this. You know, it's reasonably priced, but I mean, I guess that I'm not like the right demographic for this car, because like I look at this at $33,000 and I go, cool, I'd rather spend a little bit more money and get a RAV4 because that has an 8-speed automatic transmission and it has the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, and I'd rather have that setup than this from a powertrain perspective. But I feel like the person that's going to be purchasing this probably is purchasing this because it gets better fuel economy than the RAV4, it's less expensive than the RAV4, and they're like, they want to get every bit of possible value out of the car that they possibly can, and you know, even an extra $500, like that's a huge deal. I feel like that's the person going after this car, and so that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this, but overall, another solid little crossover thing from Toyota, and I'm sure we're going to see more in the future as they continue to branch out and create more segments in between all of their current segments. That's going to sum things up for a video on this Toyota Corolla Cross, and with that being said, I'll see all of you in that next video.